Venus, welcome to Bases, and this is the SSP Experiencers series. We met for the first time at the Bases 2025 International Disclosure Conference.
Yes.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Also had the unique experience of going to Bob's place in...
Yes.
Oh,
it was amazing.
have I used a mug that was only available at the... I'm going to spill coffee on the computer now. This is the last one.
I have one.
They're worth money. There's no more of these, although Selena has asked for one. And I had a series of T-shirts, which were going to include all this. Don't spill any coffee on it. And the company making the T-shirts got a wee phone call to tell me that they were busy. And that was the end of the conversation. Because they didn't want these things out there.
Yeah, I wanted a T-shirt, but oh well, I have a mug.
Well, let's put it this way. We have ways and means of making these T-shirts. We will have them made in a bad Belfast accent. Now, Venus, just to let people know, you are in England. I mean, you're from an English part of the world.
Yes.
But you're also near Liverpool.
Yes, the Wirral.
The Wirral. So it's going to be good fun because a Yorkshire accent, a Lancashire accent, and a Liverpudlian accent. So that lets the Americans know where you're coming from in terms of your mannerisms and the way you speak. And that makes the whole thing fun. Okay?
I'll speak as clearly as possible.
That's fine. We're just having a bit of a tease at the expense of our guests from far, far away. So what brought you... Okay, that's all the jokey sort of happy stuff. Well, let's have more happy stuff. Now, the other thing is you also met some guy called Braddock or something?
I don't remember that.
Brad or somebody. We also okay. What we've just done is we had this conference. Don't spill the coffee, right? We've had this conference, and then on the Monday we decided to go down to Cornwall to go to Bob Osborne's place in Zenner. I travelled with Ida in Dr. Amir's car, and we got abducted.
Oh, wow.
Did you know about that? At East Noyle.
Yeah, thinking about that Amir was saying, but I didn't hear the whole thing.
Yeah, we were basically there. It's an operational base. James Casbolt was there a long time ago, and we met James Casbolt as well at Zenner.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, well, we just did it too.
Yeah.
The US government.
So, to what degree?
Are you filming?
Filming.
To what degree did you work for the American government or the UK government or others like Uber?
Well, I left.
Morning.
I officially left the US government, the US military, on December 21st, 2012. That was the end of the Mayan calendar. And I was stationed on the border of Mexico. So, and I did 2 years with the US Army.
Yeah.
So
was that all part of the same kind of super soldier or secret space program?
I did everything in country. I stayed in country, and I used to take trips to New York at the weekends. I used to go AWOL and take trips to New York. And I was involved in operations in New York. Yeah.
Wow, okay. So
Not with an army uniform, dressed like this.
Yeah. Were you involved in the 20 and back?
A lot of stuff I did was in real time.
Yeah.
Yeah, so 20 in return.
There's a temporal signature with 20 of back soldiers preventing them from certain types of operation. I mean, you're radiant, you can be tracked easily, so having the pure linear time operator, you can do things that the others can't.
So do you pick up that I've been involved in 20 in return, or?
No, you're in real time.
Oh, so,
Yeah.
real time,
The injuries are persistent.
yeah.
They don't do the body regeneration for you, so you're under a lot of duress.
Yeah.
It's interesting you use the term 20 in return because some guys copyrighted 20 in back or something.
Right.
Yeah.
Beverly, who spoke. No, Beverly Rhodes, who's a sort of new kid on the block.
Yeah.
She's done 3 of those and knew about the baby farms.
South Africa.
And so, yeah, she and also our friend Sophie. So
I mean, there's so much talk about 20 in returns, isn't there? It's like, it's quite a new concept, really. I mean, when I was talking years ago, it wasn't really around.
I think it's only because people are remembering it now.
Yeah. I mean, I try and talk about things if there's physical material evidence. I've got some wild memories of planet stuff, but I've got no evidence.
Well, exactly.
So,
We can talk about that when we've had our coffee. You don't have to have a coffee and stop. You can drink coffee at any time, and Ida might be able to.
James, this is Dr. Mears, who I mentioned to you when we did our interview with Brian.
yeah.
And you said I want to meet him, and I sent you an email. You may not have gotten it. Telling you, he was able to come and meet you. I'm so excited.
Yeah.
He's powerful.
With a lot of super soldiers, you have astral tech on the head, mostly focused on preventing you from remembering some of the more crucial stuff. But it would mess with your sleep, with your mood, with your appetite, and with the clear functioning of your cognitive processes. So if you feel that noise in the background, it's this goddamn stuff.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I either eat massive amounts of food or I eat nothing. I go from one extreme to another. And it's like, but I think I was going to say, James Rink did a great thing before he died. He released this picture. It was supposed to be the inside of the spacecraft. And it was, all it was a block with a sword stuck in it and 2 seats. And that's why I thought it was authentic, because put it this way, they're a primitive race, the aliens. They're I was trying to find the panels for the some of the spaceships, and I looked at the Roswell pictures, and I know everybody's going to scream talking about Roswell because it's so kind of boring, but all there was 2 buttons and a dial.
Well,
Because they're a primitive race. They wouldn't, if they were here now, they wouldn't be able to drive a car. It would be too complicated for them because they're a primitive race. Like, I can't drive a car. I don't drive. I'm 49. I've got no driver's license because I can't drive. There's too much going on. It's too complicated for me. I've been diagnosed with like Asperger's. And I can drive an automatic, but I can't drive a manual because there's too many variables going on. So the aliens are primitive. That's why I thought the picture that James Rink released was authentic, because it was just a block. It was the inside of the spaceship, and it was just a block with a sword shoved in it, 2 seats. That was it.
He was poisoned
Yeah.
slowly.
How would you compare them to humans in terms of psychic ability? Because that's your superpower, by the way. The physical attributes are way above baseline, so you're equivalent to a special forces soldier, physicality of the thing, but your superpower is in the soul shard, the soul.
Yeah.
It's your soul that is the unique thing. So in your observation, how would you compare us currently to them currently?
good question.
Well, it's like they're primitive, and then everyone else lives in modern society, which is over complex. You know, this sword, it can be called Excalibur technology. It wouldn't, if anybody else tried to put it in or pull it out, they wouldn't be able to do it because it's connected to the DNA. So it's like the Excalibur legend, because only King Arthur could pull it out the stone. No one else could do it. So
would you think we're at the same level, or maybe even slightly more capable than them?
yeah, modern people are more capable, but
Beautiful.
this is a primitive race. But when I say primitive, there's no word in the English language because they're primitive and they're super advanced at the same time. And there's no word in the English language for that, being primitive and super advanced.
This is so beautiful, because this is the thing right now. As humanity, we're at the end of our, let's say, unnatural evolution, and we really are the cream of the crop. We're the cherry on top of creation. So being liberated from, let's say, control systems, we're going to advance really rapidly. This is where we are now.
Yeah, because I mean, I know I've got like quite a few detractors, and I'm sure they'll be writing down, oh, my weaknesses. He's got Asperger's. He's got like, you know, trying to find my vulnerabilities and all this.
I like cheesecake too much. That's
Yeah, so,
Well,
but there's a lot of strengths with it. There's a lot of strengths with Asperger's.
well, that's what Gary McKinnon had, and he
Yeah.
hacked into the Building 6 of the Johnson Space Center and came out with all these incredible stories about the secret space program. More vindication that your story is correct, James, that there are many data points showing that not only the US, but the UK and other countries are involved in these secret programs, and we're up there, we're in outer space, we're off planet, we're on other planets.
There's so many people involved in this that are on the autistic spectrum.
It's true.
That's interesting. Why do you suppose
But
that
that's
is?
that's what they wanted with the vaccines, to create
Ah.
people with Asperger's because they interface with computer technology.
Yeah, like my probation officer says that I can do really complex things, but I struggle with everyday, simple, day-to-day living.
The autistic brain is needed for a special type of very powerful soul. The wiring has to be different. A common average body can't take that kind of energy.
Well, they were saying they don't even understand the normal human brain, let alone the autistic brain. So,
Yeah.
yeah. But I know that I definitely you were talking about implants. I got one on the back of my neck, it's like alloy on
I'll
metal,
get them out for you.
and that was picked up
I
by a scanner. But I don't know if it could be removed without killing me.
Show me your scar, Dr. Amir. You had one, you just removed it. So.
Okay. Big scar.
It was the size of a tangerine.
What?
I burnt out the implant, and then the body started reacting to it, building fat tissue around it. It was just keep growing. The nerve and the veins feeding the face, I had to get it out.
Yeah.
But we'll burn it out for you, and the body will absorb it because it's astral.
Yeah.
So we don't need to do any sort of invasive work. Once they're burnt, they won't bug you anymore. Some of them you can just pull out of the energy structure easily. We'll get as many of them out as is safe and comfortable.
Okay.
So you can sleep.
Yeah.
So you can think.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're back to the magnificent you.
Yeah. Okay.
You've been through enough, man. God damn it. You've taken this for humanity.
Well, this is what I was going to talk to Mars about. You know, it's like so much has happened. I kind of need to focus on my recovery.
Yeah.
Whereas I maybe slightly getting into like Elvis Presley territory, where I'm sacrificing my health in order to appear on film.
Yeah.
That shall not
Well,
be your destiny.
Do you want to get on with this?
Yeah.
Okay, let's do that.
We had a very busy time.
Yeah, it was very
But
nice.
on the way down, we visited this windmill place and we did a few things. Dr. Amir, being a very astute and deep thinking person, had various abilities that he decided to probe the area. And he decided to boast that he'd done a little thing, a little humorous thing. Dr. Amir is very clever, and he thought he'd be very frightfully polite, but very frightfully a little rude in his polite way. So as we were driving west from the area at East Knoll, we suddenly found ourselves 2 miles further back driving north because we had been swapped over. So that was a real abduction alien type of a thing. So the purpose of this is we had a nice time down in Zenner, and everybody then was sleeping on my floor with the blow-up mattress. Okay. Do we need to talk
Yeah,
about that?
fine.
God help us. We had 1 million people staying at the house before we got our flights and left.
It's really great if you want to sleep on the floor, but not right away. You want it to gradually, just
It
get
wasn't
to the
going
floor.
down overnight, was it? Wasn't it?
No,
Wasn't deflating? Wasn't?
It was fine. It was
Oh
fine.
God, Jesus, God Almighty. Anyway, that was a bit of fun and all that. But one of the main things you did at, and you're connected with Julia. You drove down. There's a connection there, is there? And for
Yes.
others who don't know who you are, tell us all about yourself.
Okay, so I'm Venus. It's always difficult to give like a title, I guess. So
Do it in the way you want, how you want. It's over to you. We've had our fun. Let's get going.
Yeah, so I do things like Reiki cleanses, tarot, all different types of readings, like things you have heard of, like crystal ball, pendulum, tarot, and then things you probably haven't heard of, like bone reading and flower reading, and a bit more unique things like that. And I do also a little bit of spell work, but it's all white magic, nothing dark. But in terms of being more interested in disclosure and UFO, I have memories of past lifetimes, including lifetimes on other planets. And my mother was an abductee in the 70s, having tons and tons of what I would say like 3D abductee experiences, a lot of which we believe to be government. And that is a really strange like kind of variation from my own experiences, since I kind of taught myself astral projection, and a lot of my experiences are either within dreaming and meditation, where that might be like a past life experience, or astral projection might be actually connecting with beings, or it's very what you may call more like interdimensional. And but we do believe like that my mother was a targeted individual, and there's a lot of history and things that go on with people like that as a child, where they go through very, very traumatic experiences, as well as the abductee experiences, very real life traumatic experiences that even people who don't believe in the abductions would, can't deny, like that being adopted and parents dying at a very young age and things like that. And for other people there's other things that are even worse, but luckily not for my mother. But the first guy that I dated actually was in the super soldier program, and I knew that he was, but I didn't know anything about it at the time. So
What
I didn't know
country
that
are you in at this time? I mean, what sort of program? Are we talking Britain or in States or where?
Yes, in the UK. So at the time I was living in a place called St. Helens. Don't know if you've heard of it.
Well, for those who don't know, do explain St. Helens.
St. Helens is, well, I'm really bad at geography. It's not too far from Liverpool, but it's more like Wigan way. So I guess
Right.
is that more
I think it's Lancashire. Well, it's up north. It's the northern part of England before you hit Scotland, Lake District area, Lancashire.
Yeah. So my first ever boyfriend was in those programs, and I could tell because of a lot of the things that like experiences that he was having, but I didn't actually know what I hadn't heard of super soldiers before, and I didn't know.
What sort of time period are we dealing with here?
So, well, I was 18, so that's like 2010.
Right.
That's right, isn't it? I was born in 1992, yeah. So
No,
this
it's
was in
very
2000
important because British super soldiers, meeting British super soldiers, this is a big deal. This is what I'm looking for, more British super soldiers, or super soldiers from this side of the pond.
Yes.
Okay.
We're no longer in contact. But there's so many things about it that I compare now. So I always thought like from the experiences he was having, I always thought like this is not just like a dream or like a random vision that's coming to you. It seems it's all very linked to like royal family and like, just weird like I don't know, like celebrity people, I guess you would say, but very like royal family linked. And it was always like really strange things, like being sent on these strange like missions. But he would always paint it as like I had this dream or I had this vision. But I always felt like that's so strange. Like people don't usually constantly have these experiences and memories of this, it's and it wasn't like he was super into the royal family. He didn't like, he wasn't like a royalist or anything like that. It's just a really odd kind of thing for your mind to keep going back to. And when I did get older and my mother became more open with me about her own experiences, we got a lot into Max Spears, and that's where I first saw you. And the things that Max would talk about, especially as like the children being taken and having like altars, all reminded me so much of what my first boyfriend would talk about. So it all began to kind of make more sense to me that this is definitely something like my intuition, that wasn't just a dream and that was real, was definitely true in my opinion. I just felt like I got more and more confirmation about that. And yeah, that's in terms of super soldier anyway. I would say that being very connected to targeted individuals and super soldiers seems to be like I'm always keep being drawn back to that. Even like a lot of clients of mine are targeted individuals or have had some kinds of experiences. It seems like I'm always drawn to them or they're always drawn to me in some way. Although I wouldn't say I don't know how you perceive it, but with the differences between my own experiences being very purposeful and positive, and my mother's being very like abducted like unpurposefully and very negative, I don't feel as though I'm like targeted or as though I'm
Is your
necessarily...
mother still available? I mean, is she around, or
Yes, she
would
is.
she want to talk about those herself at some time? I'm just asking.
Well, I do. She's always wanted to write a book, and I do feel that me coming back from this experience with you guys and telling her all about it, she introduced me to your interviews. So she was, she's always into it, but from a observer perspective herself. But she's always wanted to write a book, and coming back from the event with you guys definitely has inspired her and made her feel more like, you see, she's like a nurse, and she's so I can tell you about her first abduction experience if you want. And it was very to her as a child, she felt ridiculed for it, which I think's always put her in that view of, even though today it's much more accepted, I think she still feels like she'll be ridiculed and things like that. So she's still not very out there. But so Ian Harding, I believe his name is, who works with Linda, gave me his business card to do an interview. He really wants to interview her. But she's been watching a lot of Bob's stuff now, Bob Osborne, the Rebel Not Taken, because she was interested in some of because we used to watch James Casbolt and Max Spears, so she wanted to kind of,
Bob's going to be coming out with a whole new, more detailed book. In fact, whilst you talk about that.
Yeah. Do you want me to carry on? Sorry.
Yeah, keep going.
Yes. So she's very interested in Bob, and I think she wants to get in touch with Bob and maybe even do an interview or something with him, because...
Okay, this is commercial time. This is Bob's book. It's available from Spirit of Place. I've got a few copies if people want to contact me directly for a tenner. I sell it for a tenner, but it's a lot more if you get it from Rebel Not Taken because it costs money, this. And the other one is James Casbolt's book 2 of it's Tartarus, Escape from Tartarus. And these are signed copies of Rare's Hen's Teeth. So you were all there. We did all that, but keep going. Okay.
I have both books, and I am so excited. Cannot wait to start. I haven't even had time, but I'm dying to start them. But yes, so she's very intrigued and interested in doing an interview or at least talking to Bob in some way because of his connection with St. Michael's Mount. St. Michael's
It's
Mount.
down at Zenner, and Zenner is where the Germans in the 1930s, 20s and 30s, and further back in the 20th century, and a lot of this goes back into the 19th century, was doing the Germans doing an awful lot of work on the ley line system of the planet.
Mm-hmm.
And that includes St. Michael's Mount and, of course, Zenner, where the reason why Zenner is so important is because the Germans were there before they became Nazis because of the mix of two ley lines in that area. And also Aleister Crowley did work there just up the road. I think you were up in there when we went down there. You went up to the cottage, which is available, I think, if you want to buy it for £2 million, but you won't get road access or anything else, but you'll just have a cottage. That's it. So there's a heck of a lot of work down there, and of course St. Michael's Mount, and a lot of bases, a lot of underground bases, and
Well,
mermaids.
yes, of course. Well, one of her past life memories is dying at St. Michael's Mount during a war. So I think that's one thing she does want to go back there for and maybe delve into a bit more. So yeah, she has a lot of past life memories as well. So I think that's kind of what is drawing her a little bit more to Bob's channel and Bob's kind of stuff.
We're talking Bob Osborne, and again, he's helping James publish this. He's published these books for those who just want to see Bob Osborne is here, and he's not messing about. Cash is king. He's a great observer and very talented individual, and that's all part of this whole thing. So it's all getting to a mix of things. Okay, keep going, and I'm not going to be quiet.
Well, that's the main thing that I would have to say about my kind of draw, I suppose, to super soldiers or either. I would maybe say their draw to me. I think there's a little bit for me to delve into with it though, because a lot of people say to me, like especially like at the conferences or just people I talk to in general, like, oh, if your mother's targeted, then you're targeted. Like there must be something with you and things like that. Which, I suppose that's another thing that intrigues me. Is I certainly don't feel that way, but I do think there must be some reason for my connection with them in some way. But yeah, that's like my main, like the whole disclosure thing, of course, is a lot broader than just SSP, because there is UFOs in general and ETs in general, which I suppose is a little bit more in my kind of realm. But
well, this is a sort of a general introduction, so let's just do whatever you want to do. Keep going.
Yeah, okay. So so what can I say? I don't know how far back to go.
If you go back to sort of where things started, the other thing is that you did give an interview to Bob, and you explained in quite detail that you are an ET of some kind.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. So I'll go back to that.
Yeah.
So I'll actually, Bob didn't post that clip, and he actually made a bit of an error because he put Venus from Lyra to Xena, but we only spoke about Mintaka. on that one, we actually haven't spoken anything about my Lyran past life, so I will go a little bit into that then for you. So this is where kind of, I suppose, my mother's and my experiences like intertwine, which is of course is at my conception, if you can say. So, well, not well, yeah, you might call it conception. I'll explain, and you might understand. So, so my mother was pregnant with one child, which and it was supposed to be one child. From her experience, she has a dream where the actual child is asking her if she can bring a friend. If she really, really wants to bring a friend, can I please bring a friend?
Well, this is very interesting because we've had a case where somebody joined a child in birth, in womb.
Interesting. Yeah, well, I'd love to hear more about that as well, if that relates to my similarities with mine. So yeah, so in her experience, that's how she remembers it, as far as I'm aware. But how I perceived it was I was being sent from Lyra, and they were giving me like I do believe I have a connection in a soul way with the twin that I came here with. Or I do believe that she came from like she was a human in birth, but I was brought through by the Lyrans for some intent and purpose, intent and purpose, incense and purpose. So I do believe that there's some purpose, and that's mostly like the work with ETs and the more interdimensional or extraterrestrial kind of element is for me, is to uncover what that is, because I was born here, so I was put into the womb whilst the previous human child was already there, and the way I was shown it was there's something, obviously I'm not very scientific, and I did try to explain this when I was talking to Bob as well. I'm not super scientific, but there is something within the cells when a human baby is made where there's some level of like memory within that. So I was saying, a human mother does not give birth to a giraffe, let's say, because there's something where we know the form that's supposed to be make. It's a pattern, it's a pattern, and it's quite similar and structured. Obviously there's male and female, but generally it's quite similar and structured. But there was some interference in this kind of pattern making, or this memory in my being created in the womb, to where I was born with a tail, and I also am pretty hairy. Well, my arms, I have really, really hairy arms, which I always like to say is because I'm Lyran. Well, I will maybe be able to show you. So I don't know, but
My God,
yeah, so
I've got arms, hair on my arms too. God, does that mean I'm Lyran?
yeah, but I'm a lady. The ladies don't have that hairy arms generally, anyway. But I was born with a tail, and so what they told me. So there's a chip in the base of my spine where the tail is very short, and this is because how that manifests when the child is born in this way. With this interference, it manifests as a condition called spina bifida. Now that doesn't mean that every child born with that is Lyran, but this is what happened to me. And
that's
like
a very
not
serious.
every
I think a lot of people it can be very serious. That.
Yeah, this is what I'm getting to. So this is what I'm saying. Like, not every person with spina bifida is Lyran, just like not every person with hairy arms is Lyran.
Yeah, well,
but
it's like saying just because elephants are grey, everything's grey as an elephant.
Yeah. So, but what they were saying was the chip is to help with the development of that, so to make sure that that doesn't manifest in a negative way, because like you said, it can be very, very serious. A lot of people born with it can't walk. They have great difficulties in with any kind of leg conditions
Well,
or spine.
it's up to you how detailed you want to go on that.
What do you mean by that? Sorry.
It's how far you want to describe that. Yeah.
Yeah, so they can be born with a lot of different types of conditions, and it can be very, very serious. But they basically, the information I was given was that this chip put at the base of my tail was to prevent anything serious from occurring, so that nothing I would be okay physically to
Yeah.
be able to do
Good.
whatever they need. Sorry?
Good.
Yeah. To help me to do whatever I need to do in this lifetime, whatever mission they were giving me, which of course we're always uncovering new parts of our missions. I do believe in things that we've been put here to do. Whether you do believe that that's by Lyrans or aliens or God or source energy or whatever it is, I do think we're always uncovering new things with that. But they did tell me that this was to prevent any further physical. So I just have like a small tail, and that's it. No health conditions, no health problems. I'm perfectly fine. Which, like you said, it can be very, very serious, but they help me for it not to be, basically. So yeah, that's the Lyran part of it. Coming from the Lyran part. I don't know where else I was going from that.
Well, keep going. My pussycat seems to be reacting. You've seen my pussycat. It's got a giant pussycat over here, and it seems to be listening.
Oh. Yeah, I mean, I do tend to attract them, actually. But yes.
We're talking about a solid teaked pussycat, 6 feet tall.
Sorry?
You met my cat. You know my big pussycat here. Remember my big giant pussycat, 6 feet tall? You can't miss it. No.
No, 6 feet.
Yeah. Well, continue. It's changing. Oh, listen, for a statue, it's changing its expression.
Okay.
I'll have to take a picture of this because yeah, have you not seen my cat?
I'm unsure.
Okay, let's see. This is there. There. Have you not seen this? This is my pussycat. You're in the house, for God's sake. Oh, God. You there?
Yes, I do remember. Yes, I remember now.
There you are. And it's got a bit of a sort of a startled look because I was using it as flash. I swear its expression changes.
Yeah.
Anyway, I was just saying it was listening, and it seemed to be a bit sort of ooh.
So heading on from that, that's something that I suppose that memory kind of came to me at some point. I don't know exactly when on my one thing I'm terrible at, which might be quite bad interviewing me at times, is exact dates. So exact dates on things, I can be a bit bad with that, but I'm not sure exactly when that exact like memory came back to me from that. But one thing, as a child, I was always very drawn to, well, I lucid dream, and that's just, like knowing that you're in a dream is the simple level of it, but then being able to control the dream is like the higher level of that. And I think that from having that kind of ability and to do that, which I think most children do have abilities, and they just kind of tend to, forget about them. But I was always drawn to more or what else can we do with our minds? What else can we, can we attain higher powers? Can we attain higher abilities? Like, what else can we do? Which is what set me on the path of learning to lucid dream. So, learning to astral project. Learning to astral project from the ability to lucid dream. And that kind of headed me down the whole path of like Reiki and the holistic healing and everything like that. And the astral projection is what led me mostly, I would say, to connecting with beings, which I do believe that I believe that a lot of them are extraterrestrial, but I do believe that there's interdimensional elements of it, which is difficult to describe because I know, like, when we say interdimensional, I suppose meaning like other realms or higher frequencies. So, if that makes sense. So, so learning to astral project and more consciously and awarely connect with different beings and different ETs and also entities. So as a teenager as well, growing up I did have 3 different entity attachments. So I do believe in interdimensional entities and lower entities as well. And I do think that there's certain things in our certain things that maybe we do as we, maybe we're in our teenage years and things like that, but also certain things like people who might be targeted as well could be on more of a astral level as well. So when people do, tell me that, maybe there is some targeting, maybe there is, but maybe it's just being more on kind of like an astral kind of interdimensional kind of level. So I did have to deal with 3 entities in that time, and learning to deal with that and overcome that, whilst learning and understanding astral projection and what different kind of realms or places you can access and entities that you can actually interface with. I got very practiced at being able to deal with different types of entities, especially negative, which is what set me onto the path of helping others with that. So one of the main things I do is cleanses, where I did go down the route of being attuned to Reiki, how most people are. I incorporate my own astral abilities into it when someone might have an attachment, basically. So I might have to. I've had tons of people who've gotten back to me and said, you were in my dream and you were fighting off an entity, or you were in my meditation and you removed something from me. So I do also get like feedback on that with the other person actually experiencing it too, confirming it. So I do feel like that's all of the things that lead you down a certain path of where you're supposed to be going and what you're supposed to be doing, when you really follow the path and you really listen out for those things. So perhaps like working with people who've been targeted and attacked, whether that is actually with like gang stalking and physical things, or whether that is more on the astral realm, which I suppose for some people it is, So do you feel like that's a huge part of my path and my calling here? And yeah, I don't know, unless there's like certain types of experiences or certain types of things you might want to ask about, or any questions you have at this point.
Well, where did these entities or attachments, what were they like? Or
yeah, okay. So this is really this is what really interests me about I don't know what I want us to say about sorry. I don't know what I want to say about I don't want to get involved in any although there's already a video on my channel. I don't want to get involved in like
just stick with what you want to be with.
drama. Well, let me just ask you something that maybe I could request to be cut out if you don't want me to mention it. But I don't know your stance on like Corey Good.
Well, I think Corey Good was a controversial character who, well, I think would you say he was a controversial character?
Okay.
Yeah.
It's just because in my video, so I did do a video about it when all the deposition came out, and like him saying that it was all like not true and everything came out.
Explain it. Explain. Corey Good. Other people were involved. There was a TV station involved, or a TV online thing, and they ended up going to court about something. Do you want to talk about that? Just in terms of what's relevant from your perspective.
Yeah, well, the only reason why I'm really bringing that up is because, so I was trying to. For me, it's like not everyone believes in star signs and star sign traits, but I'm a Libra, and I do have the Libran trait of being like kind of a mediator, where I'll like look at kind of both sides of things. And although I'm not going to like get in the middle of like a who's right, who's wrong, who's a liar, who whatever, but people were arguing about him saying that everything was a lie, when of course saying that it wasn't, when he was
it was reported that he said that he made it up. Is that correct? In court. But I mean, let's not get too detailed about court things. But
No, I know. But my point, so basically in the video, what I was trying to propose this idea that everybody thinks that everything's a conspiracy, and that all so if you want to cut that whole part out, you can. I will try to put in this.
No, just describe it in the way that you, from your perspective. That's all.
Sorry, but
no pressure.
What the idea that I was trying to put forward is that a lot of people think that like everything's a conspiracy. Every single celebrity, every writer, every movie director is all in on everything, and that it's this huge organization where there's tons and tons of people involved. And if anyone creates something or puts anything out there, that's all because they know they're all in the know, which I don't actually believe that I do believe in that, and I do believe that there definitely is, like, I think we all believe in that to some level. But I also believe that, sorry, yes, yeah, of course. But I do, the one thing that I do believe is we have the third eye. If you think of the third eye chakra, it's not only linked to like your spiritual sight, your psychic abilities, it's linked to your mind, your cognitive function, it's linked to your imagination, and a lot of these things are linked. So it's like everything's linked in some way. So if you're someone who rarely works on your spiritual abilities, you might begin to realize that you become more imaginative, you become more creative in some way, or even other aspects like maybe cognitive function might feel to be improved through meditation process and things like that. And these are all linked. And so people who are constantly using their imagination might fully believe that they're only using their imagination, but actually because they're tapping into that chakra, they're also channeling as well, because they're unintentionally also using this area that focuses on spiritual senses. So they're also picking up spiritual things, which would suggest that someone could a movie producer or someone who's creating beings for a TV show or whatever it might be, they could accidentally channel something that is real and rarely out there, but it's because they're using their imagination so much, which is linked to the third eye, that they're channeling it. So this is the point I was trying to make on the video I mentioned about the person that I mentioned. So I was trying to make the point that it doesn't necessarily mean that everything he said was false, just because he may not have experienced it. Being a creative person, he may still have channeled it because he's imaginative and creative. So he may have channeled something that was real, but it just may not have been his own experience. And this is where it leads back to my experiences. So one of the beings that the entities that I removed from myself looked fully like Gollum from Lord of the Rings. And you can say, oh, well, maybe you just watched the show too much, or the movie, you know, maybe you're just really into movies. But I've only seen this movie maybe once or twice when I was younger because of family members. Like, it's not something I'm into. I'm all of those like Harry Potter, Lord of the Rings, all of that stuff. Like, it's too much for me. It's like a marathon. Like, you know, I just don't rarely watch that many movies anyway. And there will be no reason for me to randomly have seen this being look so much like Gollum. And it did make me question and made me kind of really think about these things. And that's what brought me to this belief and understanding, really, realization that all of the things that are contained within one area can heighten the other things contained within that area, you know? It's like giving and receiving love. If you're constantly giving out love to like friends, family, pets, plants, the earth, it can come back to you in the way of intimate love, even if that's not what you've given out, you know? As the universe is this constant in-breath, out-breath, give and receive. And so I do believe that some people who are creatives, they are channeling what is actually real without actually being in the known, without actually being in this secret society. I do believe a lot of them are, but I do believe that some of them aren't, and that with some of them it is accidental channelings. I do believe there is actual entity that really looks like Gollum, and that maybe the person who created that actual image, maybe they didn't know that, maybe they haven't seen that, but that is definitely the case. One of them as well was one of the entities, going back to the entities I dealt with. This is a very common one with people who have sleep paralysis or astral projection, and it's called the old hag syndrome. And it's any kind of being that attaches to your throat chakra during sleep paralysis or during astral projection. And so I've had that as well. And then another one I had was like a very small, very kind of almost goblinish-esque, but like very peachy fleshed, like coloured being. So I don't know exactly like what name you would give it in terms of, you know, if you're going to call them like a certain type of jinn, you know. You could look into the plethora of different types of jinn, that all different types of religions and spiritual practices believe, but that's just what I've experienced. I do try to get a little bit clued up on the names, because at times, because I do think that it's a good way for us to communicate our ideas with each other, to be on the same page, even if you don't specifically believe that religion, at least to know that what that type of being should be called.
That's a good thing.
Yeah. But that particular being, I wouldn't exactly know. But some level of jinn, I'm not exactly sure of the.
We could talk about those sort of differences later. I mean, one person's. Well, let's continue. Yeah.
So they're the three types of negative astral entities I dealt with myself, which after dealing with them really made me feel at a point where I really could help other people with this. I really could. Like, I know this clearly is a huge problem, because this is huge unseen world that a lot of people don't even believe, let alone have the ability to see.
But
so
what do you see and experience? You're talking vast levels of perception here. I'm trying to not, color the picture for you. Don't want to
Yeah,
say
so-
the wrong thing.
Well, when you say what do I see in experience, do you mean like it in every day-to-day life? Or yeah, so in day-to-day life, so before I did this, before I did this kind of job role, if you call it that, um, I worked in a health food store, and I would get people. So I would get people come in where there would be. I'll give an example. There was a lady, and she had a very, very much older gentleman with her, and in the immediate instant, I genuinely thought they were both real people. Um, and then the old man, kind of disappears very slowly, but then starts telling me things. So he's telling me things like his favorite foods, like almost information as if if I were to tell her, it would be proof to her that this person really exists. That I was really picking up him up. So so I would say, oh, there was an old man. I didn't actually say this, but I would say like, oh, there's an old man with you, and he's given me these few things that he used to really love to eat or do or say, or whatever. So that it would be confirmation to her that he was really there. So that was her past father, but I didn't tell her, and for me that's because to me it's a ethical, I think you would say ethical maybe standpoint of if people come to me now where I have a website and I have a business, then that's them saying, yes, I want to know. But for all I know, she might have been fully devout Christian. She might not have wanted to believe that, there was anything like, well, I don't know what Christians fully believe, but in terms of that, if they believe in...
Well, I would suggest that they believe in Jesus Christ and the Holy Spirit and stuff like that.
I know, but I mean, would they still believe you could pick up an essence of their past loved one? Because for me, when someone passes, I don't believe that they're just floating around in the spirit realm forever doomed. I do believe that there's many different experiences that they can have, and I think a lot of mediums are picking up an essence of that past loved one. I don't believe it's the full spirit just there forever that has to be there forever, but we all have our own perception, I suppose, on that. But I don't feel it's right to just come out and say it to someone. I think if someone comes to me and they're asking, then yes, I will tell them. But if I'm at an event and I know it's a spiritual event, I might say, would you be okay with me telling you this if I pick this up? And maybe they'll say yes. But generally, in day-to-day, in everyday life, I would not do that. But that's the kind of experience that I used to have when I was dealing with people like day-to-day.
Well, this is all about your experiences.
Yeah.
So go ahead. Sorry, I was just looking at something technical.
So for my day-to-day life, I wouldn't so yes, from my day-to-day life back then, I would have experiences like that where I would see things quite clear as day, but now I have kind of learned of bringing my aura in, protecting myself when I go out to like a public place where there might be a lot of people. You might be making eye contact with people who do have a lot of attachments or negative things that you don't want to pick up. So I'm definitely a lot more careful now. So I would say that seeing things out in the public is a lot less because I work on protecting myself in that case. So now it is a lot more when I open myself up purposefully for a client, or for an experience with myself.
So you are a therapist. Are you a therapist, and do you have any websites or anything you'd like to talk about that?
Yeah, so I do sessions like Reiki cleanses, like I just mentioned with the like entity removal, if it's that areas, or it could just be cleansing the chakra system or energy system, whatever you want to call it.
I mean, have you got a qualification or training on this, or?
Yeah, I'm totally attuned to Reiki, but as I was saying earlier, so I'm attuned to Reiki, but I added my own, from what I'd learned myself through teaching myself astral projection, I added that myself to, if someone books on regular Reiki, I will do the regular Reiki with them. But if someone wants a cleanse, I'll do all of the additional things that I've taught myself or learned myself with that. I do sound healing, so I do that as well. I do spells. You know, I don't like to say spells because it has a negative connotation, but maybe you might call helping people with manifestation, you might say, because it can have a negative connotation. And I do get requests like, can you hex this person? Can you do an assassination spell on this person? And I'm like, no, I will
the
not
old
do anything.
assassination spell on somebody. Well, you hear that all the time, don't you?
I would not do anything like that. Not anything like that. So, just things where if I perceive that there is a possibility for them on their life path to achieve that, maybe it's just a small chance, and we're trying to hone in on that small chance. So I won't work with something where I don't feel like they have no chance with it, or I feel like it's unethical, like dark magic, you know. And then I do readings. So I do
There's
tarot,
blowback.
crystal
There's
ball,
blowback on it as well, isn't there?
on dark magic.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I do believe so. Yes.
So it's not something
Because
you don't want to break the rules, so to speak.
yeah, I mean, you don't want to do anything that is going to bring you negative karma. You know, whether that's on behalf of someone else or, you know, yeah, you do want to be careful when delving into those realms. Like I certainly would say, yeah. So it's definitely one of those things. I think a lot of people maybe delve into it without. I wouldn't say without knowing what they're doing, because for me, so I describe myself as an eclectic practitioner. So I don't stick to like a strict spiritual path or religion or spiritual order. I've researched and practiced a lot of different things. You know, particularly or what might surprise people is Taoism is my favorite spiritual.
Explain that.
Explain it.
Taoism.
So Taoism. So yeah, you can probably get a little bit more of a better explanation if you look online. But Taoism is a very ancient Chinese spiritual. Maybe I'll call it a religion or philosophy. One of my dreams is to go to Taiwan to visit the Taoist temples. Taoism is a very, you know, it's just really the essence of like balance in so many ways, because, you know, the philosophy wise, it's like you can't argue with a Taoist basically, because it's like it's very, like I was explaining earlier about the Libra element of myself that I do resonate with, is, you know, the yin and yang in all things. So it's kind of like how it's just how I don't know how to describe it. I just don't know how to put it into, you know, without giving like any kind of like.
Take it easy, you know.
I don't know how to like summarize it. I would say I don't know how to summarize it, but if you like read into a lot of like Taoist readings and like teachings, there's a lot of it's very understanding. Like it's the most understanding thing that I've ever kind of like looked into and tried to, you know, it's like you might get a lot of people in the spiritual community who would say like, you know, oh well, you can't be spiritual because you had some red wine last night, or you can't be spiritual because, you know, you smoked a joint when you went to Amsterdam. You know, it's like it's very like that kind of vibe of like having to be like super strict versus that element of, well, actually everything has some level of spirituality in it, no matter how good or bad, no matter which side of the coin you're on in Taoism. It's very yin yang. Like everything, there is a little bit of the complete opposite encased in the complete opposite, you know.
Have you heard of a book called The Tao of Physics? Sort of brings that into the philosophical side of physics.
Yeah, that's what. So that's the thing that really got me into it. Was a teacher at one of the universities in Liverpool was doing a talk, and I'm pretty sure he mentioned that it was a very, very long time ago when I was much more into it than I am now. But it was one of the things that really got me like kind of very hooked. So yeah, I just think Taoism so. Going back, I just feel like you can't argue with. I feel like in reality you couldn't argue with a Taoist. I just feel like there's in like a very calm and collected and very non arrogant way. There's an answer for everything, and I just find that really interesting, intriguing, and funny.
So what? I mean, could you clarify that little episode where you described about you're from the third, the type of ET you were, and you come from the third star of the Orion belt? Could you expand on that little bit that you told Bob over the breakfast table,
Yeah,
over the lunch table?
so it's a sorry. So it's the leftmost star of Orion belt. There was a planet there. In it's funny for me. Like it's interesting for me because I feel like there are beings and ETs and interdimensional beings that are kind of in a higher level of where time isn't exactly linear, if that makes sense. So so I would say that it's a planet that's no longer there as how I would describe it now, but and I always say like there is or was a planet there because it just depends on how we look at linear time because also
I think
I'm
we
very
should dump.
connected
I
to
think we should dump linear time. I mean, it's 3D construct linear time. Well, 3D plus space. That's an Einstein thing. Talk about it how you feel it is.
Yeah, well, I feel like they're all parallel lives. Like, if you want to really get down to it, I actually feel
Let's
like
get down
this
to
is
it.
like, well, this like I don't know if this like goes way too far, but
Go as far as you want.
my full and true belief of what God is if you picture that we only see a certain percentage of the light spectrum, hear only a certain percentage of the sound spectrum, and any other, physical, whatever it might be, there isn't really as solidity or there's no solidity or there's all empty space or whatever you might want to say, however you put it out there in like a physics way. To me, God is if you had the full spectrum of all of those things. If you could see every color, hear every single thing, it would be completion. Basically, it's everything. So when people say like God is within and without, internal and external, that is because there is no real separation. And for me, the truth of the no real separation is the fact that there is actually, there is no real separation. We're only experiencing that. It's like we filtered through from source. You see it as like in the center or at the top. We filtered through, and we are now only able, like we filtered into this more kind of physical dense form, and we see this kind of percentage of the spectrum, but really there is nothing to see. There's nothing or there's everything. If you want to look at, you can go either way. There's nothing to look at or there's everything to look at. There's nothing to hear or there's everything to hear. And that is what what God is to me rarely is if you were fully able to conceive of absolutely everything, that is God. So that's where I suppose like just ditching linear time comes in. But the Mintarka lifetime is going according to us on here would be a past lifetime, and it was a water planet. Wait, no, this is Mintarka. Even I'm getting confused. The one I was talking to Bob about was Mintarka. So sorry. For anyone who's listening and going, she's wrong. Mintarka is the leftmost star of Orion's belt, and the planet was a water planet, and that was the one where I had like mermaid past life memories. So going to Mermaid's Cove was very, very interesting and very nice. And I was talking to him about how things are different there as well in terms of how they filtered through from source as well. So how their physics was or how their brains works, because I was talking about how, I don't know if people would see it, but the video, Bob's video, but say like my phone case here. I was don't hack me with my my account details there, but so this phone case here, I was talking about how I can see the back of this now and you can see the front of it. Apart from looking in the camera, I can't actually see the front of it at the moment. But with their brains being different on that planet, dimensionally they actually see different. So that's one thing I was showing of that lifetime, is that dimensionally they can perceive the more of the dimension of the object than we can. So the sides, the insides, the back.
Well, I think that happens in Australia with the Aborigines. They have a completely different way of seeing and perceiving distance.
Wow.
Like a bird, it'll fly and it can focus right down. They've got a different way of seeing, because I mean all they see is just flat open space. But because we're used to more verticals, they have a different perception. It's what they pay attention to and what they see. So it can be different, literally depending on your point of view.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that's the interesting thing about it as well, is like there's so much unique and versatile life that's so different. Like with the sound spectrum, with dogs hearing higher sounds than us here. Even on this planet, there's so much variation.
Yes.
That on other planets, just to conceive of it, it's like totally crazy. But that's one thing that I always do like to put forward as well, is with the idea of people having like extrasensory abilities, a lot of people would discount the things we talk about as being like crazy, but actually it's very easy for someone to believe that someone has less senses than them. It's very easy for me to believe that, yeah, there's blind people, there's deaf people, there's, but to believe that there might be people with more abilities is like, oh no, of course, there can never be people with more abilities than me. So I think that that's a really interesting thing that I like to think about sometimes as well, with people's perception on these ideas.
But how would you, I mean, this is where some people say we have 12 senses and we just goes up and up and up.
Yeah, and it depends what you view as a sense, and I think a lot of people try to really organize it and like categorize it so much. Like I wish I was that I don't know, intricate, but I'm not like, oh yeah, there's 100% definitely this many chakras, this many realms, this many dimensions, this many this, I think, you can put a number on it, and then when you get to the higher one, is there a higher one, or is
well,
there,
as they say,
like,
it's always a matter of perspective. Some people think we got a flat Earth because they don't have depth perception. They don't have 3D depth perception. So they can't see perspective in the painting world.
Yeah.
There was suddenly a revelation where they could have perspective in the painting. Everything had to be on a flat screen. Everything was sort of just everything but then they brought this thing of perception, distance on a flat surface. In the art world, suddenly you saw perspective and then other things in the background, but people didn't have that consciousness. As I say, Aborigines will see what they see with their sight and their perception. What's important to them isn't necessarily somebody who spends their entire life looking at a phone only a few, 6 inches away. They don't see the wider world. So they don't understand.
Hey, are you calling me out?
What?
Feels like I'm being called out here.
No, but isn't that what you're talking about?
No, I'm just joking because we're all on our phones constantly, aren't we?
Yes, well, that's the point. It's to be technical bit of physics here. We are collapsing the quantum wave function in 3D or more realms. But if you constantly on the phone, the chip on the phone is collapsing the quantum wave function into 2D, into the meta universe, which everything's just made like a computer game. That's one of the things about these things. It's how the quantum wave function is collapsed.
When I was first at your house, I was listening to you talk about things like this, and I was just sat there thinking, this is so interesting, but it seems so like, it's definitely like that to me. Like, I could sit and have like a lesson from you about stuff like that. You're very knowledgeable about things like that.
Well, this is all about you. I mean, do you think you've done enough now? We've sort of an introduction thing.
Well, for an introduction, I would say that we've covered a little bit because we've gone from my mother's experiences, we've gone from a little bit of my past lives, we've gone to some attachment experiences, how I got into what I do. So yeah, I think for an introduction, it's enough. But if people did have questions, I'd be very happy to.
Yeah, well, we'll put this as sort of a part one. I'm putting it in where lots of people in this sort of SSP thing have, well, it's all in that sort of genre, sort of, shall we say?
Yeah.
Do you want to sort of do you want a sort of summary with how people get in contact with you, or if people want to talk to you or what?
Yes, thank you very much. I'm sorry, I was talking over you, but I was going to say that. So I don't know if they'll see my name here. It's Frequencies, and that's because my business name is Secret Frequencies.
Secret Frequencies.
Secret.
I shouldn't do that accent. I don't really do that accent too well, really.
Well, the reason I chose Secret is because, like, a lot of the things that I delve into or that I'm interested in is occult, but people don't understand.
Oh my God, secret knowledge.
Well, yeah, people think occult means like cult. Too many people link occult and cult together. So I thought
they don't
secret's
understand what it
safer.
means.
Yeah. So I thought Secret Frequencies is a bit more safe to put. So my website is secretfrequencies.com /shop. If you want to check out everything I offer, you can go there.
And what sort of things do you offer? Obviously, Bob Osborne's books, obviously. Well, no, not. There's another plug for Bob Osborne.
I've explained enough times. Reiki, sound healing, cleansers, all different types of actual readings, and manifesting, I would call it. So that's what I offer at the moment. If you want me to add anything to my shop, I'm very happy to do so. So yeah, it's secretfrequencies.com /shop. The best email to get in contact with me is secretfrequencies@outlook.com. I actually do have a website email, but for some reason Gmail doesn't go well with it. Like if you message me from a Gmail account, sometimes I don't get that for some reason. So,
okay, well, we'll put that up.
Yeah, I'll send you the business card. So at the moment, my YouTube channel is called The Secret... No, it's not. Sorry. That's my Facebook. My Facebook is called The Secret Frequencies. That's because someone else had secret frequencies. So
Oh,
you
that's
have
a
to
big
put
deal.
the.
That's a big deal. It's always good to call yourself
Yeah.
under under one individual name, not somebody else's.
Well, yeah, but I like mine, and I got the website, so I got the domain, so. But and I have I have a tattoo now, so I can't.
Oh my
I
God.
can't. Yeah, it's
The
a secret
tattoo, that's
frequencies.
it. That's it.
It
You
has
know.
the Venus symbol at the front as well for
Do
Venus as well.
I
So.
see Brad Olson there? No.
Not quite just yet.
Oh, but there's a bit of a joke there. Bit of a joke there. Anyway.
It's not a joke. I'm very
No,
sorry.
well, it's not. It's just me poking fun. Now you're okay. We're doing this in January, 2026. Do you have plans to go to the United States? Do you have got anything you would want to do there, or whatever? If you want to
One
plug
moment.
that.
I just didn't mention. Really sorry. I just didn't mention my YouTube. So let me just mention my YouTube, then I will answer that. So my YouTube at the moment is Secret Frequencies Sessions. That is because I used to do a lot more sound healing on there. So yeah, it's Secret Frequencies Sessions. That might change eventually to Venus Secret Frequencies, but for now,
Don't change things. It confuses everybody.
okay,
No,
I'll keep it. I'll keep it. Your
You
advice.
wouldn't
I'll
believe
keep
how
it.
confusing it gets on search engines when you do that.
Okay. Secret Frequencies Sessions is my YouTube. But yes, so United States. So I am traveling there on the 1st of February. And we're going to the conference in LA, which is in March. And there's another one in New York that I might be attending.
Right, we'll call it a day on that. It's good fun, and it's nice, and it was good Zenner and all that stuff. Yeah, that's all fun. It's all fun, even though some people get a bit hissy fit in a tantrum about things. Not that that would ever happen. Okay, well, I did have something lined up, but I think that's good. That's good.
Okay, thank you so much.
Okay,
I
so
really
I'm going to
appreciate
do a
that.
thing called come out and record. I normally have another camera, and then I show people